All right, let's get started on our budget-friendly meals. Here is one of them. We're going to use some cumin. These are seasonings that I always have on hand. The cumin, garlic salt, Mrs. Dash, Italian season, ancho chili powder. I always have bell peppers and onions on hand. As you can see, they're frozen. That's a whole cup of the yellow, red, and orange together. That's equal to 1 cup. And then about half a cup of onions. Here's the black beans, part of what we got. I always have extra virgin olive oil, chicken broth, and water on hand. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is go in with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. And then we're going to put those onions and bell peppers in there. And we're going to saute these for just a couple of minutes. And in case you're not familiar with using this, we're going to put it on the saute mode, okay? It says 30 minutes, but we're only going to use about 2 or 3. Now to that mixture, we're going to add in about a tablespoon of that Italian seasoning. About a tablespoon of the ancho chili powder. I'm going to use a tablespoon of all the seasonings. Again, season to your family's taste and liking. All right, that's what you're looking for. Okay, that took all of 2 minutes. All right, so I'm going to use 4, which is one of these cartons. And then the bottle of water, which is 2. You give that a little zhuzh. All right, now we're going to put it on pressure cook. It's already on high. We're going to go for 50 minutes. Make sure you've got the venting closed off on this. Okay, 52 won't hurt nothing. And we're going to let her go. All right, it's done. And there she is. I just put a few little Ritz crackers down. Topped it with some cilantro, which is what is part of our meal plan. So we do have cilantro. So I just took a few little leaves of that and put that in there. Look at that. Yeah. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and cook up the chicken breast. I just used some Mrs. Dash, some garlic salt, and then about a tablespoon of butter. I'm going to bake them in the oven on 350 for about an hour. And then I'm going to use those pieces of chicken to go in different dishes for a week. All right, I'll be back. Here we go again, another simple meal. We're going to use those bouillon cubes. We got some pinto beans, onions that I have had in the freezers. The seasonings that we're going to be using, some steak seasoning, some table blend, garlic salt. I put the water bottle up here because we're going to be using water. We're going to use some Jiffy cornbread and some greens. So we're going to be making greens, and those are collard greens, and I've got 2 bundles there. They were $1.24 a piece. So there you go. And of course I'm going to be using butter and egg that I already have at home. Okay, we're using the Instapot again. I'm going to go in with about a tablespoon of that steak seasoning. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of that garlic salt in there. Now, normally when I make my beans, I would put a piece of meat in here, but we're sticking to our budget. Tablespoon of Mrs. Dash. Then we're going to get those onions in there. We're going to put that bouillon cube in here. And then we're also going to go in with about 6 cups of water. All right, we're going to pressure cook this baby. Leave it at the 52 minutes and let her go. Okay, with the greens, I've washed them. I sliced them up. I've got that bouillon cube in there. I put a tablespoon of garlic salt, a tablespoon of Mrs. Dash, and a tablespoon of garlic sauce. All right, I got that lid on. We're going to pressure cook. We're not going to go that long. It doesn't need as much time. And we're going to let it go for 15 minutes. That's all it needs. Actually, we're going to just do 10, and I'll do a slow release. All right, let's get those greens, cornbread, and beans done. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Still sticking with that $54.28 series that we got going on. We're getting ready to make potato soup. All right, let's get cooking. Hash browns, the country gravy. We're going to use a couple of those bouillon cubes and 4 cups of water. All right, put those hash browns in there. And that's the reason why we got the ones with the bell peppers and stuff, giving us more flavor. We're going to put in those 2 bouillon cubes. We're going to put in that gravy, which is also going to be our thickening agent. And then we're going to go in with those 4 cups of water. And we're going to bring this baby to a boil. We're going to stir all of that stuff up first. Get everything incorporated. Stir it all up. And then we're going to bring it to a boil. And, of course, stirring frequently because you don't want anything to stick to the bottom, okay? All right, as you can see, it has come to a boil. You see all that bubbling going on? We're going to turn the fire down and let it simmer for 5 more minutes, all right? And there is our budget-friendly potato soup. Whenever I have bacon left over from whenever I fry some for breakfast or whatever, I take that bacon and put it in the freezer. So when I need a little bit, there you go. That cheese came from the blocks of cheese that we bought as part of the deal, and I almost always have sour cream on hand. All right, in this one, we are going to be making chicken fajita pasta. That's 2 of those chicken breasts. We're going to use some bow tie noodles, half and half, because that's what I had. Or you can use heavy whipping cream. Garlic salt, Mrs. Dash, paprika, smoked paprika. These are all the seasonings that I've already had on hand. And then the bell peppers and the onions. I've told you how I like to cut those up and freeze them. So they're always waiting on me. But I showed you that bag that you can get at the store that'll work just fine on this. And then those diced tomatoes. And then again, that's the 2 chicken breasts. And it was 4 in that package. Okay, I've got my water boiling for my pasta. And then we're going to get something going over here. I'm going to use some olive oil, something I always have on hand. A couple of tablespoons. I always get the big one from Costco's or Sam's. Okay, so I always have that on hand. So we're going to go ahead and go in with the onions. And we're going to go in with those bell peppers. And we're going to saute these up for a few minutes, okay? Just for a couple of minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've let these bell peppers cook for 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get that chicken in. But you can get your bell peppers as soft or leave a little bite in them. Completely up to you. And I'm going to let this incorporate for a minute. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put those seasonings in now. I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of paprika. About a tablespoon of Mrs. Dash. If you got some cumin, that would be great for this dish as well. And a tablespoon of garlic salt. Or if you just have the taco seasoning pack, open that up and use that. Okay? So now I'm going to let those flavors get to know one another, and I'm going to let this go for another minute. Okay, I'm going to take about a cup of this pasta water out of here because we're going to use that, not the noodles, just the pasta water. So we're going to take about a cup of that because we're going to use that. And then I'm going to drain these noodles. I'll be right back. Okay, into this pan, now I'm going to go ahead and add about a cup of that cream. That half and half actually, or heavy whipping cream, whichever one you have, works just fine. And then that cup of water, that pasta water. And then we're going to bring this up to a simmer. Stir that all up. Let it come to a simmer. Okay, you can see this has definitely come to a simmer. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get those tomatoes in there. And I did drain the can. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put those in there. I'm going to let this go for a minute. And then I'm going to put that pasta in there. All right, just put those noodles in there. Make sure you cook those noodles according to the package. And this is done. I'm just going to mix that all up. Stir that all in. Make sure those noodles get coated. And din is done. Chicken fajita pasta, topped with cilantro, which is also part of our $54.28. Look at that. Things made easy with Gigi. All right, our next meal, I'm going to use the chicken breast, 2 of those chicken breasts, the black beans, the enchilada sauce, the corn tortillas, white corn, and this is the cheese. That's the Colby Jack and the mozzarella. But the first thing I'm going to do is put down some of this enchilada sauce. So we don't want anything to stick to the bottom. Get that oven preheated to 350. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down some tortillas. And then as far as the black beans go, when I made those, I just put them in the Instapot, okay? That's all I did. I just put them in the Instapot. And then I did it last night so that these would be ready for me today when I was ready to start making them. You can cook them. All right. And so, like I said, you can put some rice in this. You can use anything you want. I'm going to go in with some of this mozzarella. The same thing with this, with food. There's a million ways to make a lot of different things. I'm going to put a little bit of sauce on here. All you have to do is shop your home. Just shop your home. It makes life so much easier. Before I go to the grocery store, I always see what I have. I make a meal plan first and decide what I want to eat for the week. And that's a group decision. The whole family gets in on that. What they want to eat for the week. And then, in turn, I turn around and see what I have in the refrigerator and see what I have in the pantry and the cabinets and everything. And then I make my plan. What I need from the store, what I don't need from the store. It makes a difference. And it saves a lot of money. Yes, it does. And I'm going to put one more layer of those beans in here. And this is a really delicious meal. It's filling. And there she is, fresh out of the oven. Now let's plate her up. Told you, little parsley makes her pretty. Let's plate her up and see what she looks like. There is our chicken. Black bean quesadilla. All right, and here's our next meal. We're going to use the ground turkey that we bought with this Knorr's Spanish rice. And then we're going to use these flour tortillas. So the first thing we're going to do is just brown this meat up. All right. You see how we broke that meat up? You don't want the big chunks in this. I mean, unless you do. But if you put smaller chunks like these, it'll stretch further. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and go in with that rice. We're going to put in 2 cups of water. Give this a nice little zhuzh. And then we're going to let it go for 7 minutes. Mix all that up in there. Get that seasoning pack kind of up in there. There we go. I'm going to put that lid on. 7 minutes. All right. She is done. All right. Everything you see on this burrito is stuff that we bought in our budget. And there she is. All right, the next thing we're making is these little pizza pockets. And there is our pizza pockets. All right, here's another dish using the cheese that we have, which was the mild cheddar, the pizza sauce that we've already used, and a zucchini. All right, things made easy with Gigi. I'm telling you, all day, every day. We're just going to put a little bit of pizza sauce on each one of these. Okay. Then we're going to put a little bit of cheese on there, and we're going to bake these in the oven for about 5 minutes, just long enough for that cheese to melt. All right, we're going to put our zucchini pizza in the oven.